Welcome to Eclectic Talk Radio. My name is Jake Jones, and I want to welcome you to the show. Today we have a program about the History Channel and one of their programs, and the program is Ancient Aliens. Now, you may or may not have watched the program Ancient Aliens, but it is produced by Prometheus Entertainment and runs on the History Channel and, A&E television networks. The show is basically run by, I'm not going to say run by, but the basic person who they go to for information, who makes a lot of statements, is Giorgio Tsoukalos. He is not the only person that is on there. You've heard of George Noory, Eric Van Daniken, who wrote a book back in the 70s about ancient aliens. Barry Downing, David Childress, who speaks frequently on the show. The show has 95 episodes over 8 seasons. They just started their new season this past Friday, and that's why I'm doing this program right now, because they had a program. And what they did with that program is they basically took the Bible and tore it apart. Not in so many words, but just the way they use the Bible as a reference. Everything these folks do to prove that aliens are ancient are responsible for the invention of mankind, are responsible for our current visualizations of alien spacecraft. They use the Bible on many occasions, especially when it comes to the Anunnaki, the Nephilim, things of that nature. And instead of using it as a divine example, they use it as an alien example. Now, to me, and I'm going to say this right up front, to me, there are creatures that are out there. And in my opinion, they're demons. They're not space aliens. They're not our benevolent space brothers. They are demons, Satan's workers. Okay, and one of the reasons I say that is because in many cases, people have, and I've said this before in another program, people have seen alien spacecraft and they got frightened, or they saw something they didn't recognize as being made by man. It appeared out of nowhere, or maybe they even saw an alien person, an alien being. And they called on the name of Jesus Christ, or God. And the alien craft, being, or whatever it might have been, disappeared. Okay? Now, the problem I have with the program is that I have very little respect for Charles Darwin's theory. His writings, his observations, are nothing more, and were nothing more, than a theory. There was no proof whatsoever that what he said was correct, positive, or had any firm foundation whatsoever. He speculated that we evolved from apes. Well, with DNA, that's been proven that it's probably not accurate. Another thing that I don't have any respect for is carbon-14 dating. Carbon-14, once it deteriorates, it is almost impossible to get a proper reading, or an accurate reading from carbon-14 dating. Therefore, these claims that mankind has been around, or the Earth is 6.5 or 10.5 billion years old, or whatever, is really, really stupid on the part of scientists. Now, Giorgio Tsoukalos, he's a unique-looking guy with a hairdo and everything, but he seems to be a non-Christian, someone who is promoting the space aliens to be the gods when it comes to the programs that he helps produce. The problem with the term gods in ancient times, and we're going to talk about ancient times because the show is called Ancient Aliens. When people referred to gods in Egypt, in Sumeria, wherever in the old earth, that people referred to things as gods, or people or beings as gods. They referred to them as gods because they were different than someone else. They had a capability different than anyone else that they knew. They had knowledge that was different or far advanced than anything anybody knew at the time. However, that doesn't make them aliens. So what I'm trying to say about the term gods is that they used the term for anybody that was smarter, had more talent, or spoke in a different language. They, that's a simplification of it, but basically that's it. That is why they used the term gods. Okay? They had no proof that these individuals that they spoke of as gods were aliens from other planets. However, that's where the Ancient Aliens program goes. The Ancient Aliens program looks at all these issues. They look at the drawings in caves. They look at the drawings on stones in Egypt, on the sides of pyramids, inside pyramids. They look at drawings on stones all around the world, and they say, these are representations of gods. Well, how about if we look at it and say they don't represent gods per se, like the God of Christianity, but let's say they were different. Maybe somebody dressed differently, so that made them a god. Maybe somebody had a misshapen head, which we find lots of in the ancient past. And some tribes, especially in South America and Central America, used to use head wraps to elongate the skulls of their children. Okay? So somebody that had a different facial structure, somebody that spoke a different language, or they spoke in a what today we would call a tongue, they looked at these people as gods. They weren't space aliens. These people made drawings on the sides of stones, on the sides of cliffs, along the riverbanks or wherever, and they were not depicting aliens. But the people in the Ancient Aliens program say this is positive. However, there's one thing that the people in the Ancient Aliens show do, and they have a speaker who is actually narrator. His name is Robert Clodworthy, and he uses the term Ancient Alien Theorists believe. He says that Ancient Alien Theorists believe at least a dozen times or more in each show. So they're theorists. They have no proof. Now, Giorgio Tsoukalos is not... His background is unique, to say the least. Old Giorgio was born in Lucerne, Switzerland in 1978, on March 19th, one day before I was born. In that month. I'm older than he is. In December 2012, he was age 37. He went to Ithaca College, and he has a website called legendarytimes.com. I just wish I had hair like he does. At this point, I'd like to have hair like anybody does, but he has unique hair. Anyway, he seems like a nice guy and everything, but basically what they are doing on that show is, it is, how should I say it? It's hugely speculative, the show. It is not much different than the decisions and conclusions that Charles Darwin came to. There's no real proof that they have. Everything they have is speculation. The speculation sometimes is really, really, really exaggerated. Just like a program I did a couple of days ago about the archaeological find in Ohio, the guy that was the lead player in this archaeological dig. He made statements about this, that, and the other thing, how the houses were built and the material they used and everything else. And then out of the blue, he made a statement. He said, we have no idea where they're from, what they were doing here, or anything else, except they were hunter-gatherers. But in the end, he says they came out of the southeast. And they went to Ohio in the winter. Okay, that's just one thing that irritated me this week. But now the Ancient Aliens show is really, really, really getting to irritate me. They are rehashing and rehashing and rehashing the old rehashed stuff that they did a couple of years ago. It's the same stuff, the same scenery over and over and over. It's just done with a little change in the wording, a different time. They're dressed differently and so on and so forth. So what I'm saying here is basically is that what the show Ancient Aliens is doing, there's two observations I can make, is they are belittling Christianity, and because they're using the Bible and passages from the Bible to try to prove their point that aliens were responsible for mankind. And the other thing that irritates me is the fact that it's the Charles Darwin syndrome. They really have absolutely nothing to base their ideas on except cave paintings, drawings on rocks, carvings on rocks. They frequently refer to Stonehenge, things like that. Let's face it, if you could fly across the universe, couldn't you do better than Stonehenge? If you could fly across the universe, couldn't you do better than to leave an impression on people? Wouldn't you do something to leave behind a record that you were here instead of depending on them to draw cave paintings or carvings on rocks? Those carvings on the rocks are nothing more than depictions of tribal dress, ceremonial dress. Okay? Think about that. Anyway, that's the program. I've just been real irritated with Ancient Aliens. So I watch the program because they do refer to the Bible. I keep track of how they are belittling the passages in the Bible because of that. They're space aliens and how they try to tell us that we were born of space aliens. They created us. Last night's show, they even tried to say that the DNA was manipulated by space aliens. That's something that I heard 10 years ago. Nothing new. But that's the way Ancient Aliens goes in the History Channel. So, anyway, you have a good day. Think about it. Leave me a comment at the bottom below the video, and let's see what you think about what I have to say. Have a great day. My name is Jake Jones, and this has been Eclectic Talk Radio.